All right, so now we are going to be, on this sheet, we kind of experiment with the weighting game that is watercolor and mixing colors. On this sheet, we're going to experiment with how to add value using watercolor. So, we got a value scale here. You get to pick any color you want. We have a lightest, light, dark, and darkest. All right, so if I wanted to get the darkest color possible, I am going to get some watercolor and I'm going to paint straight onto the paper for probably my dark and my darkest. And then fun fact, for my darkest, I'm gonna wait for it to dry and then add another layer of blue. So this was kind of a waiting game too. For my light, I'm going to paint on just water first. So not a dry paper, but a wet paper. And then I'm going to add some watercolor, maybe rinse again, and then kind of blur it. Maybe I need a little more blue. Cool. And then for my lightest, I'm going to paint just with water. And then I maybe like put my paintbrush in the blue, maybe like gently rinse it, and then add to it. Oof. And then if I feel like it's too dark, which I do, I might go in and kind of dry it off a little bit with a paper towel. All right, so I need to wait for this to dry a little bit before I add a second layer. Okay, so this is called a gradient wash. So you're basically gonna do this, but just as a gradient. So how I'm gonna do that is start paint to dry paper on the left here. Fill in paint with just some dry old paper. And then kind of on the right side here, I'm gonna rinse out my paintbrush, just go in with some water. Start to kind of blur that edge there with the water. Then come in with another layer of blue. Kind of have it meet up with the water. Alright, and then it's very possible I would go in and do a second layer with that. Alright, so warm and cool color value scale. So on this one, you would take a color wheel, either one across the room or somewhere else, and you would either pick the warm colors or the cool colors and kind of paint them in order. And you'll see that they could also be used as a value scale. So if I pick the warm colors of yellow, orange, and red, yellow is the lightest. It's probably going to be, so it would be considered the light color on the value scale. So I'm going to start out with yellow, using lots of water here. And then I have to mix an orange, surprise. Come in, maybe I paint orange and then I come over here a little bit. I might work on blending that better in a minute here. And then you go ahead and go with the red. All right, and how to blend them is you just take a wet paintbrush and kind of make a circly motion. And then maybe go back in with some color.